This episode is brought to you by TaxAct. Don't do your taxes alone. Join TaxAct's National Admin Night. Admin nights are social gatherings for getting through your to-do list. So get ready for a night of fun, finding deductions, and filing taxes with TaxAct, where you can file your federal and state return for just $49 through April 8. Let's get together and get them over with. Visit taxact.com/admin-night for details.
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a-playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey!
The pod goes wrong, buddy.
The pod goes wrong. Hey, Matt.
You know, we're not a show that frequently has guests, but
we attempted to be at one point.
At one point,
I'm sure the first year.
You know, and I'm still open to us having guests.
For sure.
But this was an opportunity was laid before us. Katie has been trying to get me to watch the Goes Wrong show.
Yes.
And she was trying to use Christian Cringe as a way for me to watch it.
Yep.
And I was of the mindset that I'm like, I don't think this counts as Christian Cringe.
By the way, this is how I get into every Geekscape show. I do the wrong premise just to get someone to get on the right track of obsession.
To get on the right track.
All right. Let me back up
like,
just a little bit. Having watched this morning, can you walk me through why this wouldn't qualify as Christian Cringe?
Well, because I don't think that this was made. To me, Christian Cringe is watching things made
for Christianity
with evangelical intention. So I was like, okay, this actually would qualify more as a Christmas 365 episode. And since I knew that Dylan had already staked a claim on the Rack Shack and Benny episode of VeggieTales,
100%.
I found myself thinking,
I did it for the bunny.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? This is perfect because the only way, like, Dylan's schedule's crazy. So the best time to record him on Christian Cringe would be on a Saturday morning when we do Christmas 365 anyway.
Yes,
and Katie's been bugging me for like a year to do this episode of The Play Goes Wrong. So it was like, the perfect opportunity for all these worlds to collide for us.
So this is a show that, like, the TV version I was completely unfamiliar with until we talked about it.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with the play that goes wrong,
Yep.
so like the original stage production, because they just did it here a couple years ago. And it's what, for those of you not familiar, it's very much, I don't know why I'm going to use this as an example, because if you're not familiar with the plays that go wrong, I doubt you're familiar with this. This is very much kind of a Noises Off take, where like, so we just did Noises Off. I just did Noises Off a couple years ago, and that was the most fun I've ever
love
had
that
on
show.
stage.
It's a great show.
I fell down the steps twice.
Yeah!
Or multiple times.
Wait, who'd you play?
3 weekends in a row. I played, oh my gosh, I can't remember half their names because they're all like, everybody has two names in the show.
Is it the one where he doesn't remember his lines, or?
I played Gary Lejeune.
Okay.
Who is, he is the, and Roger, technically Roger,
Gotcha.
the real estate agent.
Yeah.
Who's like trying to hook up with the girl in the house, and then
who keeps losing her contacts. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is very much like, that predates the play that goes wrong. Very similar show. A show's being put on, but everything's going wrong, and they turned this into a TV show. And having watched this episode this morning, I'm like, oh yeah, I think Matt said the same thing. I'm like, I need to go back and watch every single one of these.
Yeah, there's only 12 episodes, I think, so it's like an easy watch, I assume.
Luckily, they are currently on YouTube for free. You know, there's some commercials that are oddly placed throughout the episodes, but it is peak British humor, very, theater in the round style. Like, you see all the stuff. It's so much fun because there's several storylines going on. There's the storylines of their actors or their directors getting in fights with each other throughout the entire series.
So here's a question I have, and I want some quick clarification on this, because I did pull up the wiki page for Play Goes Wrong show.
Okay.
And it was describing like, oh, this actor believes that loud is the way to best perform. This person always wants to look sexy and smart. Like,
yes.
But like, my assumption is within that, like, based on the episodes, that you're just watching the play. So like, how does those pieces like, do characters eventually verbalize that, or is it just from every episode you piece together, oh, this is how he thinks acting is supposed to be?
100%. So everybody has sort of like their thing, their like annoying actor thing that they do in all of the shows. You're not always like caught up episodically where they are in their relationships to each other, to one another. But the show that they're doing is so memorable or like so iconic. They usually do something like Peter Pan, Christmas Carol, like something like of like everybody knows this show. So they put in things like the guy that always spikes the camera and like always like shows off. So you're not caught up necessarily episodically where they are in their relationships or whatever, but they still do their same bit where they're always spiking the camera or they're always trying to be sexy even though they're the Mother Mary and their stomach keeps popping,
That was great. Her like looks into the camera are absolutely comical.
It's
she's like the Mother Mary and she's like,
she does that all the time. She plays Wendy in Peter Pan Gone Wrong, and I saw the live stage version. I could not breathe because these guys are so freaking funny. Like, it was so nice to have an intermission because I couldn't breathe. They were so funny. Yeah. And they do stuff in the audience when you're there live, and like they do a whole bunch of bits before the show, during the show, in the middle of the show with the audience. They do a baseline story that you're usually familiar with, and then they go crazy. And then they do the most incredible stunts.
Yeah. This feels like, I don't know how familiar you two are with this, but this feels like an evolution of the Reduced Shakespeare Company. That put together complete works of Shakespeare abridged, and then complete history of America abridged. Very much. And like, I saw the DVD of that original cast in a high school theater class, and I was like, okay, I've absolutely fallen in love with this humor in general. So like, watching this was absolutely right up my alley from beginning to end. I could not stop chuckling.
I'll tell you what sold me very early on, because the first minute or so you're just kind of setting up plot, right? You've got the director and he's talking to you, and
the director.
Yeah, you get okay, there's gonna be some fire drills and in the middle of this, and it's like that stuff. I was chuckling a little bit, but it was the introduction of easily my favorite character. When the play starts and Mary gets one word in before the clouds open and reveal him duct taped to a cloud, and it's the wrong cue, I was like, okay, I'm in. That, and that character never stopped making me laugh uncontrollably. He was my highlight character.
That's why I really encourage you to watch The Lodge after this, especially with Barb or with your significant, with Teddy. Their stuff is so funny. So that's the thing, is that these characters are very similar in all of the episodes, but they're often playing the angel in the clouds getting their cue wrong, or there's the kid that can't remember when to say his line. Ever, or
the innkeeper, that bit of him working the inn was so funny. Do you have rooms? Yes. Okay.
I guess we go in. No. It's that's a running bit with him, and even in Peter Pan Goes Wrong, they put a headset on him to feed him his lines, and it's always going off. So their shtick is usually the same in every show that they do, but every show is its own sort of microcosm of things going wrong.
Yeah.
But that guy specifically has almost the same situation for me as Matt Berry.
Yeah.
Where it's his voice is just funny. Yeah. Even when he's not delivering jokes necessarily, I just laugh.
Yeah.
So when he says, "I've been sent to tell you that you've been impregnated remotely." I'm sorry, that came out very sinister. He just, or the line that killed me was it's later on when he's talking to the shepherds and he goes, "Behold the light of God." And there's one flash, he goes, "Underwhelming."
Because his bit is that he's always in contention with the director, with Chris being the director, to be the lead of this Cornley community theater company or whatever. And so he's constantly at odds. And I think even in the next episode of the show, they fire Chris Bean as the director and they make him the director, and he just rips into Chris Bean by not giving him lines, and it's hysterical. But yeah, no, it's one of the things that I love about this one in particular, not only just being the nativity scene, but it's presented by a bank, because the BBC is not going to fund theirs.
It's so good.
It's so, when they're discussing bank loans and interest,
as the three wise men.
No, I was talking about when they're talking about the census.
With Mary and Joseph,
With Mary and Joseph, not with the 3.5% interest rate.
Yes. There's a bit that they follow up with that where the wise men are introducing their gifts, but they name the gift and then move into an advertisement, and they're like, "I bring the gift of Frank Lee, you can get great rates on." Oh my god, it's so good.
It's so good, and it's so ham-fisted, but it's my favorite thing, especially when things do go wrong, with the stunts or with the fireworks or whatever, is that they keep maintaining. Now, there's a character within this. She plays the donkey's ass, I believe, in the very first bit before the donkey ends up being two asses at the end of it.
Oh my god, that killed me.
Yeah. She's one of the funniest, and she's also in Peter Pan Goes Wrong, she plays the nurse, and she's having to sing this beautiful nighttime bed song while they're trying to cut somebody out of a section of this the set.
Yes.
Which, because the set itself is always some kind of a character as well. There's always a bit where the set is, and I love that in this one.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get to, because that to me is the funniest moment in the whole special, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Mary and Joseph, they talk about bank loans. The angel gets his cue correct this time, but the duct tape gives away and he falls, which that also huge laugh out of
that
me.
Angel
as
is
that happens.
dream role. Like that character is dream role for this show.
Yeah.
Easily, for sure.
Oh, he's so good, but he impregnates Mary with a bowling ball.
Yep.
Yes.
And they
With
have
the
to travel.
cool, like BBC
Laser?
type special effects that you would see on shows at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they have to go to Bethlehem, and this song where they're riding the donkey, and there's an actor playing the donkey with the face showing through the face, and then at some point someone plays a tumbleweed that just like grabs across.
This is the guy that doesn't remember his lines, and they always put him as like some kind of like fixture on the set so that he doesn't have to say a line.
But as that's happening, there's like the backdrop of the desert,
Yep.
and all of a sudden the desert turns white, and it says, "Trevor, paint more desert here."
Yep.
And then it's a series of like cakes and lollipops,
desserts.
and it says, "Those are desserts." I said deserts, and it says, "That's not my job."
Yeah.
And then it says, "Did you at least cut the face holes into the cactus?" Just as two people blindly come running after this cactus, banging into things. Like
it's just like
so perfect.
It's also just there's such a great rhythm with that.
Yes.
Like it's just going bit after bit after bit after bit. There's no moment for you to go, okay, this. I think that's part of the humor. Like that's what makes that part so hilarious. Is like you're piecing together what the board's saying, and then all of a sudden the two cactuses just come out and smack
collide
down.
right in. No, it's so
awesome.
well timed. It's so well done, and like that's why like if you do go see these guys live at any point, which I highly recommend.
I would love to. I think that'd be awesome.
The intermission is just so you can breathe because these guys are so well timed. There's like all of the stunts that they do. Like sometimes you're like, how did they freaking do that? The stuff like with Herod, I know Matt was texting me.
Oh my
god, that is dream
that
roll
is
number
the
2.
That is the best scene. So I did Weird Ass Movie Night last night, and I was still like on a high from this, so much so that since we end it before 10:30, which is like normally when it wraps up, I'm like, I gotta show you this scene. And I just like showed them out of context the Herod scene where the spinning, the very first beat where the spin just goes and closes again. I'm already laughing. Yeah. But then we get to the routine where it just will not stop spinning and keeps speeding up faster. But he is still delivering his entire monologue. So you're hearing his voice so distantly in some of it and then clear as day. And oh my God, it's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And it leads to the wise men bit where they're not, because he's spitting out his lines so fast, they're not ready for the costume change. So they have to go out there in their underwear and do
their little dance. Yeah. It's so good.
Oh my God. I did write a line that we missed with the shepherds that I do want to come back to with the character that we said, dream role number 1, the angel. But he drops his halo and he's trying to get them to give him the halo, but they think he's saying hello. And it's this whole thing, and then he gets so frustrated he goes, Jesus. No, wait, he's not born yet. But that brings me to my point.
I'm also like a sucker for the cheap pop. So like I really dig the Halo. Is it me you're looking for?
Oh my God.
It's so good. Like the speed of all of the jokes is what takes you off guard and like keeps you laughing because it's just like it's unreal how committed they all are. And like, you just like following along in the entire like reference framing and everything. You're just like, wow.
Yeah.
And this is coming, like, I was texting, I think both of you, but I know specifically you, Katie. Like, I watched this immediately after watching the 4-hour Mel Brooks documentary. And like this,
which I started last night and loved it.
This is so Mel Brooks humor coded though, where it is that combination of the cheap, easy joke that you can see coming from a mile away and it still satisfies you when it happens, as well as like payoffs to bits set up 5 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes ago, like still like coming back around. But like similar to this, there's a bit that I want to talk about that, like, similar to how in a movie like High Anxiety, Mel Brooks can get away with this joke where he's recreating this famous Alfred Hitchcock shot where the camera slowly pans up to a window to film a dinner scene. But in his, you hear the window shatter and everybody at dinner stops and looks at the camera. And then it cuts to a different angle of the dinner scene. And it's like, you don't have to, like, we just all get what happened in that bit without it being explained to us. The scene where they're singing the song, but they keep getting the wrong sheet music to go with the lyrics.
And then it just keeps changing.
And they're just playing all... Yeah, like, it's like, that's so funny and brilliant, and we don't even need an explanation or a setup for us to understand what is happening.
That's the beauty of that show, that experience, that live performance. Like, everything that they do is, like, you don't necessarily need context because you're going along with this rapidly thrown joke at you. But, like, it's constantly changing, but you know exactly where you are, even if you don't know the full context of, like, who these characters are, who cares about whom, or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter because the jokes just land every single time. And I mean, God, I could talk about these guys so long and all day. Like, every single thing in there is like mined for jokes. Like, even the set. I mean, there is a couple of like those like filming type of like jokes within other
well, we
stuff.
Get there at the end of this too.
Yes.
Where, like,
the guy who's the stage manager who's always coming in and trying to fix things at last minute gets stuck in the book that they've got this like 2D sort of like premise for like telling the Nativity story, and they're turning the pages for each of the set pieces, which is like this is a pretty genius set for this setup, and it is in a film studio, so it's like it's not huge.
Well, so like the whole episode, and it's just how my brain's working, because I'm sitting there going, okay, so if we were to do this, how would you do this? Like what are some of the things we would do? I was talking to my buddy Nick, who put on The Play That Goes Wrong a couple years ago. Yeah. And he's like, the problem with this one would be is we need a lift, and we don't have a lift to do. And I'm like, that's great. So like, it's just the different things, like eventually we're gonna get to the bit where the set falls over, and that's what I was referring to.
That's a camera joke.
Yeah,
ultimately.
The entire last portion of the show is done that way. So I'm like, okay, was this changed for the TV version, or what did they do to like have the finale for the stage version? Because it just feels so important to the story that they're telling within this show.
It is really smart and funny with a lot of that. Yeah. And I mean, Dylan, yours is a prime example when I saw you as the lead in The Addams Family the one year. But like, we've all been to like small community theater shows where it's like, holy shit, how did they pull this off? I remember going to see, it was Clue done as a play.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the amount of like stage setting moving around at all times to create all these different rooms, but like in a one act, like for 45 minutes, you're just like watching characters quip and banter as like a stage is just shifting and moving like a Rubik's Cube. And you're just like, this is incredible that I'm watching this at a $10 show at some small theater.
So when we did Noises Off, like the way that set is when you do it on stage is like
it's a rotating.
One half of the set. Yeah, it's a rotating set. One half of the set is the actual like production of the play that they're putting on. So like you've got like a foyer and an upstairs and everything. And then during the second act, they turn the stage around, or they turn the set around completely, and it's the backstage area. Yeah. And it's absolutely wild. Like it is so cool to watch some of like, I don't want to use, sounds negative, but like these rinky-dink operations that are able to pull off what they can pull off. And as someone who's much more involved with like the performance side, I can tell you there have been plenty of moments where I'll walk in, like I'll leave the theater one day and I'll walk in and our set will be built and I'll be like, holy shit. Yeah. Like how did this happen? The Addams Family one being a part of that, where I'm like, oh my God, like I've never been able to, like, you just put two like huge flights of stairs leading to like the top balcony, and I'm like, that didn't even exist.
Yeah.
12 hours ago.
It's
absolutely wild.
That is the cool thing about this kind of creativity, because not only is it something that you're like, oh wow, this visually like was not here the day before or whatever, but it's like, oh, this is interactable. Like I can climb these stairs, I can be on this and be safe. Like the entire production of these kinds of things is incredible, and it is what shows like how a $10 show can be like unreal in such a small space.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't clone you, but it can streamline your hiring workflow. From posting jobs to shortlisting candidates to interviewing, LinkedIn Hiring Pro is the hiring partner you need, so you can focus on connecting with the right talent. In fact, small businesses report saving over 6 hours per week. So hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Your favorite local grocery stores like Kroger, Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and more are now delivering on Uber Eats. Get 40% off your order of fresh, quality ingredients. Whether you just got home to an empty fridge or suddenly got a craving to whip up something new, you can get everything you need delivered in as little as 25 minutes. Get 40% off your order with code Kroger2026. Plus, members get $0 delivery fees. Order now on Uber Eats. Orders of $30 or more save up to $25. Ends 4/30/26. See app for details.
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while, because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a-playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
Remember when James Cameron nearly directed a Spider-Man movie?
What about when we almost got Batman Year One with Joaquin Phoenix?
Or David Goyer's Flash movie that would have starred Ryan Reynolds?
Well, if you want to learn about all the unmade superhero movies, then check out Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Hosted by Ben Wan and Alex Ramsey, every month we cover nostalgic superhero movies with deep dives into unmade scripts, early drafts, deleted scenes, alternate cuts, concept art, novelizations, and tie-in novels.
We also interview the people involved in making the superhero films of our childhood, with our past guests including superhero actors, directors, screenwriters, and concept artists.
So remember, that's Superhero Stuff You Should Know, or Superhero SYSK on social media. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
So I did 3 years of stage crew in high school. Mm-hmm. And like the first show I ever did freshman year, we did Anything Goes. And I was part of a team of like 10 high school students that had to figure out how to build
a boat,
a stage in our high school to look like a boat. Mm-hmm. And like the one thing that I actually really appreciated, and I don't know if this is like normal. I've only ever done high school stage crew, so I don't know how normal this is. But something that they let us get away with for Anything Goes, and we found ways to do this for every single one of our shows, was instead of the stage crew wearing all black to blend in with the shadows, we dressed in sailors' uniforms so that we could walk across the stage as extras to move things when needed. Or like when we did Footloose, we dressed as high schoolers from that time period. Or for Little Shop, we dressed like people that were like living on the streets.
When we did my junior year, we did Les Mis my junior year. So they built like the big barricade and stuff, and we had the same thing. We had people would come out dressed as soldiers and dressed as like the rebels to come out and spin the barricade around during that scene and everything. And it's like it is really
a cool texture.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the coolest thing, and this was like fully, I loved doing this in high school specifically, was when we were able to get teachers involved to help the stage crew.
Yep.
To do something really cool. So like for Footloose, I have 2 memories, was we had to create a church for a bunch of scenes. And we literally had the art teachers help us get the coloring correctly, that we were able to convince an audience. Like multiple people thought that a church donated pews to us. But it was just the way that we had stained
some windows,
the cardboard to look. And they thought that we got real stained glass, but it was just a painting effect that made a piece of cardboard paint it look like that. And then we got the science teachers involved because there's a scene in a burger joint. We had a science teacher come and help supervise us as we used Bunsen burners with fluorescent light bulbs to mold our own neon burger sign.
And that is the beauty that is the creativity that goes into like a stage production,
like a small show.
And I think that's also what they kind of get across within the Goes Wrong show is just
Very
like
much so.
how many of these little pieces are like, or I mean, I don't know how familiar you guys are with pantomime or like panto. It's a big thing in the UK. You know, it's very like a kid-friendly type of show. You know, the audience responds, you respond back type of thing. It's that the heart of panto is like basically creating an entire world that you don't necessarily see because you don't necessarily have the budget to do it. Like what you do have the budget for, you know, you go all out in all these different ways. And like that's kind of the heart of this Cornley community theater group. I can't even remember what they call themselves. But it's like, we want to create something that like you can like fully believe and imagine. And really what it is bringing you in on the joke of like how so much can go wrong in a stage production, and like the creativity that you think is like really cool and interesting just going wrong or falling apart or like doing the thing that like every community theater has had the experience of.
Exactly.
Of just being like white-faced and like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. But the show must go on. Like there always the show must go on.
There's been multiple times where like, again, not to this extent, because this is a bit, but like where things like this has happened. Like I've seen these things happen where like I've been on stage and a set piece just falls apart. And you just got to keep going. And you also make the decision as an actor where you're like, am I going to draw attention to this? Because sometimes it's good for the bit. Like sometimes it is good for the bit.
So this is my embarrassing fuck up. The one time that I was on stage was I had built a good enough relationship with the guy who did the high school theater, that when we did Little Shop, I was like, look, I'm not an actor. I know that I should not be any lead in this, but I would love to do a bit part. And I wanted to do Bill Murray's scene from the movie, which is not in the stage show.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll tell you what, if you watch the scene and transcribe it, I will insert it into the script and let you do this like 1 minute bit, because it is an iconic moment that people are going to want to see. So the way that bit ends, Bill Murray is like this crazy masochist. And at the end, he gets caught having stolen one of the dentist's tools to take home to use on himself. So we're like, all right, well, I'll wear a suit, but I'll have it hidden in my coat pocket. But on the first night, I leaped from this chair like, is it my turn? And as I hit the ground, it fell out of my pocket on the stage already. And I didn't know what to do because I'm not an actor. So we just go along with the scene. And I was so in my head that I dropped this thing that the actor playing the dentist is leaving dental tools on my chest for me to take one. And I'm just like not getting it.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
So mad.
So can I just say, like, as a friend, I would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. if I was playing the dentist and we got backstage, I'd be like, what the fuck, dude?
The
I was
director
obviously
like,
trying to help you.
Yeah,
I was trying
the
to
director
save
was
you, bro.
like,
Do the bit.
The director was like, if that happens for the next 2 nights, you need to take one of the things that he's putting on your chest.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, got it. But then what ended up happening instead was I did not have the same energy jumping off of the chair that I had on the first night because I was
I'll
so
just fix
self-conscious
that
about
part.
losing it.
Yeah. Well, and that is such a classic performer in front of a live audience like moment. Like it is what makes or breaks like the acting interest.
Can you figure out what to do if something doesn't go the way that you're planning?
Yeah,
right?
and like and when it's so obvious to the audience, and like when it's like you're personally embarrassed, like shedding that piece of you of that embarrassment to just like either lean into the joke of like I know it's happened too, and we all know what's going on, or making it even worse. Like I told this on Napping Through Happy Hour, but I did a show like 2 weeks ago, and I was supposed to come down and get up on stage and do this introduction of like, hey, can I get an embarrassing story? And I've done this a million times, you know. I run up to the stage, but I was wearing these like harem pants, and so they're a little bit wider, and my foot catches in the pant and then pulls it down so that like my leg launches down, and then my ankle smacks into the stage, and I was like, oh, I'm about to fall. And I've been spending the last couple of years relearning how to fall because I fall a lot and it's not necessarily on purpose. So instead of like reaching out, I go to do a shoulder roll, because if you reach out, you're going to break your wrist. And so I go to do a shoulder roll, but I miss it and I smack my arm into the side of the stage. And I was like, oh, this is really embarrassing. And as soon as I think this is really embarrassing, my head, bam, hits the leg of a chair and rings out like a gong. It's so fucking embarrassing. And then I just start fanning my legs in front of the audience, and I'm like, hi everyone, my name's Katie, can I get an embarrassing story, you know, something like that. Because it was just like, and I had to tell my PT the next day, I was like, so sometimes I'm a physical comedian but not by choice. So like, well, that's why I'm bruised.
So like kind of going back, and I just remembered this story when we were doing Noises Off during the second weekend. One of our actors got sick during the middle of the second act. And she like at one point we're all doing our thing, and Matt, the way that show works is very much like what we witnessed, which is just boom, 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 like bit after bit after bit. So, and you're going in and out of the set. So at one point, I just remember walking back, like backstage, and I see her like being like walked off by our stage manager, and she's supposed to be going back out. So we just go out and we do the entire second act without this character, skipping over her lines, and like, and again, if you're in the audience, you have no idea that is supposed to be happening. And I think that's the brilliance of theater. Like that's
and I think that's the brilliance of this show. Is that a good theater group helps each other. But clearly this is the story of every single cast member can't get out of their own ego. So it's like that combination of no one is there to help the other person, so it all just comes crumbling down to the point that like we have the scene where the director has to like save the manger scene essentially and just storm in there and he goes, go have your baby in the sodding manager.
The manger.
Like, manger, get on your donkey. And then it cuts to the 2-ass donkey. Like it's like all
do
of
we
it.
have a manger? No. Yes, we do.
Like it builds to this perfect moment. And then we get, I have to listen, we like to be very open and honest here. So we get the first fire drill mid-show. We get the second one while they're singing. So now all of the singers are like screaming this song over the fire drill. It's such a
continuous bit. Like the scream singing is so good.
But so they're scream singing over the fire drill. The fire drills are finally over, and immediately the piano gets lit on fire, and everyone is trying to put out the fire. And there's a bit with the fire extinguisher where the fire extinguisher hits him in the face as he's playing piano. And it caught me so off guard that when I laughed, a fart snuck out. I was like, oh,
yes,
my God.
Human moments, yes.
There you go, yeah.
That was so unexpectedly hilarious that I,
You farted.
just, lost control of my body for a second.
Yes.
But then, yes, we get to this big finale where, because of all of the chaos of the fire, the entire set crumbles to the ground.
Yeah.
And their only solution is the director runs out and yells camera 7. And they just cut to this aerial shot of everything on the ground. And they are laying on the ground, trying to pretend that they're not lying on the ground.
And doing a great job, too.
They do a great job because
great.
at one point I forgot that they were laying down. When the first when Mary is first giving birth, I was I'm watching. I was something. Oh, that's right. They're all laying down on this set right now.
I was equally confused until he creeps in to be there as the angel. Yeah.
I was I thought you meant our narrator. The narrator too. Just inchworms on top of the wise men.
Just to get the closing.
The wise men finally getting to nail their dance, but they're nailing it while laying on the ground, is so
absolutely perfect.
Fucking funny.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it. Yeah. And
no, this was a delight.
That's actually that's a shout out to they do an earlier episode. I think it's in season 1 of the Goes Wrong show, but they have a set that they say that their builders got the measurements mistaken, and they end up building the set on its side, so the entire scene is them basically strapped into these chairs for this dining room table, and they have to do a dinner scene in the Old South where they're passing the lemonade or whatever, but it's just all falling down to the floor. It's so great. The way they construct some of these sets and these little bits, it's unreal. And that 2D scene on their side, that's something that if they were doing it live, they would have a big mirror that's kind of angled so that you could also see that 2D experience. I
was curious if it would be monitors or something like that, but that makes even more sense.
Yeah.
This was a delight. Yeah. This was we've been talking. I gotta say, Dylan, I don't know if you agree with me, but I would argue that so far, this has been the easiest March-April we've ever had.
Oh yeah,
at Christmas 365.
I think so.
As far as just good, enjoyable content that has it hasn't been us. It hasn't been us trying to watch I don't know, Tim Allen's The Santa Claus in May and be holly jolly about it.
Yeah. Even the stuff that we might not enjoy while watching, as we're watching it, I'm this is gonna be gold.
It's so true.
Hannah Montana, I knew we were gonna crush, but this
cannot wait.
So this is one of my favorite things that we've ever done. Thank you, Katie.
Oh my God, I'm the joy that I have in watching this, and the fact that you guys enjoyed it too is really making me truly so happy, and I cannot wait to show you guys the Christmas Carol Gone Wrong, which is a full BBC production with Derek Jacobi playing Scrooge-ish, but really the two directors are trying to play Scrooge. So they're knocking out Derek Jacobi the entire time.
But I saw the first episode was also a Christmas one. That it was a Santa Claus.
It's a Santa Claus one. It's very much about the actors more. I would say the Santa Claus one is a very funny episode. I think that the Nativity one is a really great introduction to this entire crew and their shenanigans.
Well, and this was a one-off special I saw. That this didn't classify as season 1 or 2. This was just its own unique Christmas special.
Yeah.
I love that. And Katie, I mean, it sounds like you've absolutely locked yourself in for 2 more guest appearances on Christmas 365 at a minimum. So
yes, please.
So we'll definitely do more of this. And hey, Merry Christmas to all of y'all out there.
Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry
Theater
Christmas.
is cool.
Yeah, it is.
Whoa, 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 now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday, have a great holiday, have a merry happy holiday.
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your song.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.